simple question.
God bless. This will take long.
That reminds me of something.
It's about the game rules. I sometimes get questions from German readers about game rules. Usually I'm able to answer them because you cleared up many things in the Lone Wolf newsletters. For this one, I didn't find any official ruling for. It's about chainmail waistcoats and other items which give you a bonus to your endurance points. Where you obviously raise your maximum endurance and lower it if you remove them. But the question is, what happens to your current score of endurance if you put them on and remove them? Because obviously, if you have like 3 endurance points left and you take off your chainmail waistcoat, it gives you 4 endurance points.
Save my life, but if you fall into water and you take it off, that might actually save your life. So we're talking about the game book rules rather than the role-playing rules. Initially, it's like you wear it and use the ability right from the start, rather than keep taking it off and putting it on. That's a bit sort of what we call gaming. It's a bit kind of playing the rules against the flavour of what they were meant to be. So. I suppose the simple answer is if you're going to wear it, you keep it on. And then if you take it off, you lose it. Because normally in the flow of the game book, you're usually in action at some point. But to take it off and then put it in your backpack, perhaps I should have, allowed for that.
There are some points in the books where you can lose them, like in book 2 when you go overboard, you have to take off the chainmail waistcoat.
Yeah.
Because you would drown otherwise.
Erklär mir mal bitte, wenn du ins Wasser fällst, wie du deine Ketten in den Rucksack machen musst.
Nein, ausziehen.
Ja, ist ja drin, das ist ausziehen. Aber
streichen, weg. You lose it. You list
keep it simple. It's just a simple addition in the first place. But I kind of got the feeling that I kind of abandoned that complication later on. It was one of the early ones you put in when you're naive and first, constructing these. I think I would have allowed for you to put it in the backpack if you wanted to take it off and retain it. But it would probably take up 2 places in a backpack. It's quite a heavy item. It's a big mass of metal, isn't it? What did you have in mind?
Will you lose the 4 endurance points if you lose the chainmail? For example, if you have just 3 endurance points left, will you die?
See, the endurance, it's just giving you, it's the equivalent of extra defence. God, it's quite a complex question, actually. You promised it was going to be a simple one.
And that's the simple one.
That's the simple one.
I would say...
Because you'd want to get those points, yes, you'd want to get those points back.
If you take it off, then you keep the points
but
they are.
In the early days,
reach back the points, then the maximum is lowered by 4.
Yeah, well, the problem is you could kind of exploit it if you just say, I've got 3 endurance points, I take it off, put it on, so I get now 4 to my current endurance.
I think that we're in the realm of cheating now.
That's the thing that readers ask.
Yes, indeed. If you're, if as a true player, that wouldn't be satisfying. There should be some little voice in the back of you saying, "No, this isn't right. This isn't right." That's sort of that's the English term gaming. You're being too gamey. You're kind of manipulating the rules to suit. You shouldn't be able to do that. Okay, on that simple but not so simple question.
Door number 2.
Quick.
My question is a boring one.
All right.
You're talking a lot about your vision of Magnamund, but what would be interesting for me is what's your vision about Lone Wolf as a character? For example, my vision is he's a kind of a lazy guy, he's a grumpy one, he's a cynic, but deep down he's a good guy.
Yeah, kind of. I've really hit a nerve with this, and it's something that I've noticed in all of the fan mail I got in the early days, that predominantly it was a male readership. It was typically 85-15 was the split in the early, and it was promoted to the boys anyway. They all identified with the character because it was at a particular time of life where you're actually developing your own character and figuring out who you are. and you feel kind of isolated and alone. And I've got a lot of fan mail saying, you know, my family circumstances aren't great at the moment, going through changes, there may be a divorce in the works, or there's some upheaval that's, you know, affecting them. And they can always go to the Lone Wolf books and find a little bit of sanctuary there, a little bit of solace. And it was, I didn't realise, I wasn't conscious of it when I wrote the originals, but I must have touched on something that was really a common experience among all the readers, that it was this individualism, the characters, you know, self-reliance at a time when they were trying to find their own identity.
Yes. If you would give him your own personality, if you would say, now I'm Lone Wolf, I'm the player, what would you say, what kind of guy is it? A lazy guy? Is he, like I said, a grumpy one, a cynic, or is he more like,
gosh, no. Well,
I do this because I'm responsible?
Yeah, he came across as not being the academic one, but having the greatest potential. And that's what I liked about developing the character. He was the one that you would vote least likely to succeed in that. He did. He's kind of like, oh, you're such a damn nuisance, Silent Wolf. You know, you never really pay attention. You know, and we kind of we haven't got high hopes for you whatsoever. But he actually has the full potential. But it's realised because of his circumstances. So to be, you know, without sounding too literary, it's existential. Not situation. He is moulded by his environment, but he has this deep down solid potential to, you know, to realise it. And I like the idea of the underdog actually rising to a position of power because he's experienced what it's like to be, you know, the lesser of the class, not the star pupil at all.
Yes, it's more fun in this way.
It is more fun. Yeah, I think from my own personal circumstances, I lost my father when I was quite young, so I kind of grew up very quickly. In as much as I had a lot of responsibility placed on me when I was young. He died when I was 9, and that obviously shaped my progression in my life. And I kind of retreated into my own imagination at that time as well, looking back on it. And so I kind of, some of that came out. That was only, you know, it's like kind of an experience 5 years before the age group of the readership anyway. So that was kind of being able to rely on one's own inner strength. And for me, it was being able to rely on my own imagination to get me out of trouble, frankly. You know, I could, you know, think of ideas to make money or to, you know, entertain myself. Because I was an only child as well. So it sounds quite pathetic, but frankly it wasn't. In many ways, I'm grateful for that experience in a funny sort of way, because it gave me it gave me what I needed to produce what I came to produce. What came as a bit of a surprise is that it was a common theme through all of the readership. They all identified with the character not being the brightest, not being the strongest in the class, and yet when it comes to the crunch, he's the one that actually delivers the goods. He's the one that's got the full potential. So and hence the name change. I mean, I had the vision of the name really early on in the process, and I thought Lone Wolf is just absolutely nails it. This is the character's name. But I also like the idea that he progressed into that of his own accord. You know, and Silent Wolf, he's kind of on his own, and he keeps to himself, and he doesn't mingle, and you know, he's a little bit perceived as being antisocial. But actually, his heart's in the right place, and he's got, you know, he has actually got this inner strength that is developed through his circumstance and his own hard work. So yeah, I think that's what most of the readership appreciated, and certainly that's what they wrote in the fan mail. I really love this character because it's so much like how I feel. You know, my other classmates and my parents don't realise. You know, they think of me in a sort of a lower level, but actually I've got more potential than people realise, and that kind of struck a very strong chord with the readers, and all over the world. You know, I was getting the same letters from Argentina as I was getting from Australia, and all points in between. Same common experience, same appreciation of the character. So a lot of people in this room as well probably went through the same process when they first, you know, read the books. Yeah, identified with that. Nice way to end it. Thank you for the question. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.